football. Enid Plainsmen football with Steve and Steve.
Hello again and welcome to Plainsmen Football, the Coaches Show with Steve and Steve. Week 2 of our season as we start our show today. I guess you would call it a game of turnovers. It wasn't the kind of the outcome that anyone for the Enid Plainsmen wanted, but it seemed to be a game of turnovers. The final score, Guthrie 57 and the Plainsmen 19. It was, I believe, 7-0 at the end of the first quarter, and that score happened due to a turnover, if you will, and then it kind of seemed like the floodgates kind of opened up. So, Coach, welcome. Thank you for being here today. How would you summarize the game?
You know, the critical errors at critical times, I think some things that we did were really, really well. We had 503 yards of offense, which is a pretty outstanding night. We had held them to 214 yards of offense. So defensively, we played really. I think our defense played really, really well. They just didn't have a chance to stop them because they had 5 turnovers that were returned for touchdowns, and so you can't give another team 35 points right off the bat without your defense even stepping on the field and have any chance of winning. And then one of the other turnovers resulted with the ball being on the 1-yard line, so the defense had to defend the field from the 1, which is pretty difficult. And then the other turnover was on about our 25-yard line on a kickoff return, so they had a short field there as well. And so basically 7 of their scores were either returned turnovers or on a field of total of 26 yards. And I've never been a part of anything like that before. Those 7 plays were definitely catastrophic. But the one thing I think that as you take away is you watch the video and break down the game. Those mistakes are correctable mistakes, and you got to give Guthrie some credit. They played well and didn't make those mistakes. But also how hard our kids played despite all the adversity, all the way to the very end of the game. I thought our kids showed great character and that their heads never dropped, and they battled and that tells me a lot. That encourages me and a great deal because I feel like we'll fix our mistakes and have the makings of a really good football team. And it's going to sound crazy, but I felt like last year in that first game until we suffered all those injuries, we had a fantastic football team. I feel like this football team right now at this point is potentially even better. We just got to take care of the ball because it's all about that football.
So, Coach Hayes, what do you attribute to the fact that there's folks in the stands that they're disappointed?
Absolutely.
They're just rooting for the home team, if you will.
Extremely frustrating.
And they see the coaches and they see the players, and then there's another score, and then there may be another fumble and another turnover. What do you attribute to the players, as you referred to, and also the coaches, to stay, focus at hand and not just saying, "Oh boy, we are really behind."
I think one of the things that we tell our kids repeatedly, and especially the quarterback position, which I think has the toughest job of all when you have a night like that night, because a lot of that stuff gets pinned on him. I mean, like for example, that interception we threw right before half with 6 seconds left, that was because the receiver ran the wrong route. But everybody in the stands thinks the quarterback through a poor pass in that case,
or a great pass to the defensive back.
Correct, and you're like, what is he thinking in that regard? And the reality is, he was trusting his teammate to be in that spot at that time, and the teammate didn't show up. And so, our mantra is to play the next play. Whether you had a great play this play or a bad play this play, you got to play the next play. It moves on, the game moves on, and there's nothing you can do about the one behind you except learn from it. And so you got to line up and play. And our kids did a great job of that. I think there's a lot of positive takeaway. And, we've got to work on our quarterback center snap exchanges. We have a new center there for the first time in 3 years, which makes a big difference. And then, we got to work on carrying the football correctly. And we got to throw it to the right guy.
Back to basics. I know.
Yeah, yep.
Welcome to Plainsmen Football, the Coaches Show with Steve and Steve. And we want to remind you that the show airs typically around 8 o'clock in the evening on the Enid Television Network on Channel 11 and also in high definition on 111. So I encourage you to tell everyone about the show and let them view it on Suddenlink Cable. But also, due to the partnership with the City of Enid and also Enid Public Schools, the show airs on social media as well. So I encourage you to watch Plainsmen Football, the Coaches Show, as we continue to highlight coaches and also student athletes. Well, it's highlight time, one of the features that we like to show, Coach. Tell us real quick some of the highlights we're going to see, and then we'll be rolling the tape in just a moment.
The highlights are pretty exciting in that you can see our potential as a team. Despite the 3 interceptions for touchdowns, we threw for 285 yards. which is
Will Phillips had a big catch over the shoulder.
He did. He had an 82-yard reception that was a beautifully executed play.
Yeah.
Man, what a perfect ball by the quarterback, Blake Priest.
Because he had two guys around him, I think, that I remember.
Yeah,
and then Will caught.
And then for him to show that speed and that separation, where a year ago he'd have been caught. This year he's pulling away, which really is a tribute to how hard he's worked in the offseason. Yeah. It's a great protection by the O-line. You're going to see some fantastic play by our defense and how well they just – I mean, Guthrie really had very little on offense. They had those two short drives, but the rest of the game, our defense held them in check quite well. Really did a good job of tackling and just defending them. Great outing by our defense, and I'm really excited about that because, we've struggled in that area the last couple of years. And, the biggest mistake we made on those turnovers is we didn't get those guys tackled before they could score, because if we'd at least given our defense a chance to get on the field, we'd had a pretty good chance of potentially stopping them and getting the ball back. And so a lot of exciting stuff on these clips, and you can see what our potential as a team is if we can get these other things ironed out.
Well, Coach Hayes, let's roll the tape right now, and you can kind of give us that play-by-play, and we'll see some of the Will Phillips and other plays. Nice evening at Selby Stadium.
Right here, I think this is a catch by Abraham Rodriguez on a bootleg. Titan rolls out and peels back to the side. Abraham is a nice big target at 6'4". Good catch and good job running. Get us a first down here. It was 3rd and long.
And he's new. His family's new to Enid, correct?
Correct. He's from Australia. Here you can see the swarming nature of our defense. It's 3 guys to the ball, the point of attack immediately. Here, there's a little outside jet sweep play, which is tough to defend, and you see all of our defenders staying in their gaps in a very disciplined way, making a play. Dylan Gaw there at the play as well. Here, again, a Tyrone Hill jumping over a blocker and tackling a guy while he's being blocked at the same time. Outside zone run by Will Phillips. This was his longest run of the night when he wasn't catching the ball. It's a 19-yard gain, and you can see a very effective cutback, and he's definitely healthy and back. Here's the play you were talking about. Pass over the middle. Beautiful throw. I was worried he almost overthrew him, but, man, Will ran and caught it in stride, and 82-yard big play. Big play. Here, Dylan Gaw does a great job of scraping over the top and hitting the quarterback. Good angle by the linebacker. A little key screen to Will. Take us down the sideline for our last score of the night. And tremendous blocking by Damian Ryman and Abraham Rodriguez at the perimeter that gets him by. Basically, he ran untouched. More of a tribute to the blocking than anything else. Here, great job on the inside by our defense. Our nose guard, C.J. Adams, does a great job of stuffing the center and creating lanes for our linebackers to make a play. I believe this is a catch by Jonathan White. On a walk play, we fake the ball to Thielen, and then he just snags it out of the air like he's picking an apple off a tree, and takes all the way down to the 12-yard line with a nice catch and run. Excited to see sophomore Jonathan have that play.
Well, Coach, thank you thank you and your staff for putting those highlights together for us.
You bet.
And it's got to be encouraging to see big plays like that, because it's there.
Our potential's off the chart. We just got to get all the little mistakes figured out. It's our job as players and coaches to make sure we get it done.
Okay, we're going to move into another segment. One of the favorite segments of the show is when we get to introduce live and in person student athlete. We'll do that in a few moments. But we want to take this time out to introduce you to other members of the Enid Plainsmen football team. We'll do that right now.
I'm Darren Keith, class of 2019, wide receiver.
Caleb Stanley, class of 2020, O-line, D-line.
My name is Noah Escobedo. I'm in the 11th grade, and I play receiver and safety.
Kay Potion, class of 2021, defensive line.
My name is Hunter Falarsi. I'm class of 2021, and I play linebacker.
Herman Velasquez, defensive end, senior.
Dayton Griffin, 10th grade, defensive end.
Welcome back to Plainsman Football, the Coaches Show with Steve and Steve for 2018. We are just pleased with the partnership between the Enid Public Schools and the City of Enid and the Enid Television Network to provide this program to you during the football season, and we're in our 4th season. Before we go to our student athlete, I'd like to say thanks to the men's department at Dillard's for providing the wardrobe for Coach Steve Hayes. Coach Hayes, sporting a nice looking blue, looking good there.
Liking the bright blue today is exactly what I'm needing.
Well, here we are in our student athlete section of our show, and Colton Dodd is our special guest. Colton, welcome to the Coaches Show with Steve and Steve. And
Thank you.
It's a good thing you're sitting down, because Coach Hayes has got some tough questions for you, and you might need to hang on to your chair. So here we go. No, but seriously, thanks for being here. We appreciate you, and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really excited to introduce Colton Dodd to our fan base. Colton is a special football player and a special kid. He started his very first game as a freshman. Has started ever since, pretty much. 31 game starter, which is incredible, especially at the 6A level. Has performed at a high level. His teammates selected him as a captain here in this past week, and very deserving. He was probably one of my top choices as well, and has done a good job of leading, whether he had the title or not. And just a great football player and a great kid. Going to miss him when this year's over, that's for sure. I can't even imagine Enid Plainsmen football without Colton Dodd, because he's been here from my very first day as well.
Well, maybe we can work on a fifth-year senior program or something.
Yeah. He's already burned his red shirt, though. Colton, share with the crowd about what position you play for our football team and kind of what they do.
I play guard and center, and guard's really it's the interior of the line, and I mean to play in the middle of the line, you really got to have toughness. You got to be smart, because at center you're basically the quarterback of the line. You got to call out stuff, and it's not always just calling out stuff. Maybe it's just helping a new kid at a new spot, telling them what to do, stuff like that, and calling out the blitzes and all that.
Yeah, going to do a great job. Now, Colton, you obviously love the game. Talk a little bit about why you love football and what it means to you to be an Enid Plainsman.
I grew up watching Enid play, and I always go to the games. Remember playing EGRT, and I loved it. I loved the brotherhood you get from it. I love meeting the coaches, creating a relationship with them. Really just goes beyond football. It goes down your life, because I know I can talk to any of the coaches, whether from now on out of high school, and they're always there to help me. Yeah. And that's what I like about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, what did you do in the off season this year to get ready for your senior year?
I cleaned up my diet. I took workout serious. I think as a team we took workout serious too, and I think that's helped all, like, individually. I gained a lot of numbers on all my lists.
Mm-hmm. How much are you squatting now?
425.
425. That's great.
Then I think one of the things that really helped me was wrestling in the off season. Mm-hmm. It pushes you mentally. Coach Holland's a good coach, and it's really tremendously helped me about everything.
Mm-hmm. I agree. All right, now what are some of your goals for this football season?
The first one is to make the playoffs. I know some of you guys watched that game last week. You might not see it, but as we've been going through this boot camp with this team, to me, all we need is each other, and I think we really work good with each other. We got potential. We just we put it together. I think that'll be good, and that's one of my main goals. Another one is to just win the rest of the games at home, make it fun coming to watch the games at home, and just win it out.
Yeah, you can see why Colton's such a great captain. What are your plans after this senior season? You graduate?
I plan on going to college and play football and get a degree, and I'm really ready for it, ready to go play, but I'm excited for this season.
Yeah. It's a good thing you keep a good balance, because you've already got some college opportunities in front of you to play next year, which is exciting and well-deserved. But I can definitely tell that it has not diminished your desire to make the Plainsmen great. Great kid. Really grateful to have you in our program. Keep up the good work, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Colton, I have a closing question for you as we close out our student-athlete segment on the show. Is that how would you summarize your experience in athletics at Enid High School? How would you summarize all that?
I think it's been great. It's very supporting. Like I said, the coaches, every coach I've met there is always positive. You know, they're all there for you. I think that's a huge thing, and like they care about you as an individual, and they want to make you better as a man. Like, it's not just football. I think it's more than that, and I think that's a huge part about it.
Very, very good. Well, Colton, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Colton Dodd is our student athlete that we're featuring here on the Coaches Show with Steve and Steve. Number 79 in the jersey, and I'm sure number 1 in Mom's heart. I'm quite sure for that. So Colton, thanks for joining us. And thank you for joining us. We need to take another time out, and this opportunity, let's meet some of the assistant coaches that make up the staff for the Enid Plainsmen football team.
I'm Coach Dusty Quarles. I coach secondary. I went to the Northwestern Oklahoma State University, and the best advice I've ever been given is keep God first. And if you do so and have a relationship with Christ, then you'll never have to worry about whether or not you're adequate for today's journey.
I'm Kyle Young. I attended the University of Central Oklahoma. I coach linebackers and defensive coordinator. And the best advice I'd probably give or have received is when it comes to your morals or your faith, don't settle. Always stand on the rock and never falter no matter what's going around in your life.
My name is Kareem Sears. I coach the defensive line for the Enid Plainsmen. I went to the University of Nebraska, and the best piece of advice that I've gotten is leaders lead from the front, not from the back.
I'm Kyle Davis. I attended the University of Oklahoma. I coach the offensive line, and the best piece of advice I've gotten is give it to God.
Welcome back to the Coaches Show with Steve and Steve. One of many favorite segments that we have in the show is Welcome to Chalk Talk. And Coach, this year we're going to do a little bit different. We're going to talk about player position, and people will know, well, there's a guy that's way out here. He stands by the sideline, and then he runs way down there, and sometimes they throw the ball to him or not. You referred to him as a wide receiver oftentimes. And so let's talk a little bit about this player position, if you will, in our discussion. Wide receiver, what's that position all about?
You know, in the majority of our offensive sets, we have three or four receivers, a lot of times 4. And they're designated by letters of the alphabet. We have X, F, Y, and Z. And based on that designation, they know how to line up. Their primary jobs are to block at the perimeter for run plays or quick screens and to catch the football, run good routes. And I think one of the things people don't realize is how much during the course of a week a receiver runs. For every time they run a route in the game, they probably practice it 15 times during the week. And it's the mileage that those kids run is incredible, and the kind of shape that they're in by the end of the season is pretty phenomenal. The ability to catch a football while somebody is running at you full speed and wanting to knock your head off and have the concentration to catch that ball, make the catch, and then evade a defender is quite an athletic skill. And I think a lot of people take it for granted. I mean, it sometimes hard enough to catch your keys when somebody throws them across your room. But can you imagine catching them from 50 yards away with somebody running at you under the lights and 3,000 people watching you? And then the block in the open field is a little bit different than blocking at the line of scrimmage in that they have to block a good athlete in space. And you have to be a good athlete to do that. You have to work really hard to be good at it because there's a lot of ways for a defender to evade you out there in space, where at the line of scrimmage, a lot of times you're in close quarters, you can get a hold of them a little bit easier.
Well, Coach Hayes, back when I played in the leather helmet days, as I called it, we were called split ends.
Yeah. Did you get in the three-point stance?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, there was never any upright anything.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That was against the law.
Yeah.
Everything was either in a 4-point stance or a 3-point stand. But anyway, the game has evolved, and so you have wide receivers. Yeah. And that's it for our segment. Well, I was going to ask this. What is the ideal wide receiver kind of physical makeup? Do you want a 6'6" type person? Do you want this 5'10" with a lot of speed? What's the ideal?
That's a great question. We actually look for different body types for different parts of our receiving core. The split-out guys are longer strided guys that have good speed because they're going to run more of the vertical down the field type routes. The guy that plays the slot is more of a running back, elusive, probably a smaller player. And then the guy that plays our Y, which is kind of an H-back, is more of a tight end body. That would be the Abraham Rodriguez kid that we saw in the video clip that caught the big play, a kid that can block and block inside. And so it really depends on which one of those positions you're talking about, but we do actually look for a certain body type for each one of those spots.
So that's Chalk Talk for this week as we take a player position and discuss a little bit. This week was wide receiver. We need to take another time out so we can meet more members of the Plainsmen football. Let's do that right now, and then we're going to talk about what were you thinking. We'll be right back.
Good this week.
Will Phillips, class of 2019, running back, safety.
My name is Tyrese Neal. I play corner and receiver, and I'm a junior.
John Gay, class of 2021, inside linebacker. Maddox Mayberry, class of 21, quarterback and defensive back.
My name is Sean Graves, and I'm a nose guard, and I'm a sophomore.
My name is Zay Coleman, class of 2021, D-line and O-line.
Devontae Gordon, sophomore lineman.
Welcome back to Plainsman Football for 2018, the Coach's Show with Steve and Steve. I'd like to remind everybody, Coach Hayes, that if they have a question or a comment or a play suggestion, especially a play suggestion before halftime perhaps, they can always send an email to asksteve@enid.org. asksteve@enid.org. Well, Coach, you threw the ball just before halftime. What were you thinking?
You know, based on the way their defense was lining up,
I say that respectfully.
Oh yeah, and I understand that. You know, we could have taken a knee and not given up that touchdown return, that interception return right before the half. But based on the way they were lining up on the plays before, they weren't putting their guys deep, and we tried to run the same play with Will that we scored on later in the game over the middle right before the half, and we had a mistake on the route, which ended up in that pick six. But I thought, going into halftime, if we could have scored there like we did in the third quarter, and the game would have been at that point in time 29-13 or 14, that would have been a positive momentum shift. And obviously the worst possible thing happened, but I was really playing aggressively to try to win, and so we could have taken a knee, and in retrospect probably should have. Hindsight, but I wanted to give our kids a chance to win and to kind of narrow the gap and come back in the second half and win the game.
Well, we certainly want to have fun with this segment. Yeah. What were you thinking? So it's not from a armchair quarterback second guessing. We're going to have fun with what were you thinking. And again, asksteve@enid.org is the email address if you have a question for Coach Hayes. Coach, I'm sorry the clock's running, but we've got to take another timeout so we can meet more assistant coaches. And we'll be back to talk about some giveaways right after this.
Coach Cameron Condor, coach quarterbacks, offensive coordinator, attended Grand Canyon University, Phoenix, Arizona. Best advice, be yourself. Don't worry what others are thinking about you.
My name is Coach Jake Hayes. I attended school at Evangel University in Springfield, Missouri. I coach wide receivers for the Enid Plainsmen. I teach PE at Hayes Elementary, and the best piece of advice I've ever received is anything worth doing is worth doing right.
I'm Coach Chad Miller. I graduated from Southwestern Oklahoma State University. I coach safeties for Enid High School. The best advice ever given to me was by my grandfather. He always told me if I wanted something in life, I would need to earn it through hard work.
Hello, my name is Wes McGill. I graduated from the University of South Dakota and North Dakota State University. I coach linebackers, and some of the best advice I've been given is proud men don't complain, they find solutions.
Again, thank you for taking time to watch the Coach's Show here as regard to Enid Plainsmen here on the Enid Television Network, and tell your friends about the airing of the show on Channel 11 and 111 throughout the week. Coach, we're really thrilled with our friends at On Deck as they provided our studio set design for us, and they have provided an opportunity for viewers of the Plainsman Football Coach's Show. As you can see right there, the what do you call those tailgate chairs? There's two to be given away, and there's also a carrying case for those. Good-looking Enid Plainsman logo, good, solid, big chair, heavy duty. We have two of those to give away, and there's the Barry Sanders bobblehead doll. All you have to do is go out to On Deck at the Oakwood Mall. No cost whatsoever. Just go to On Deck, say hi to the folks, Gary and Jeff Williams and the team, and you fill out a little entry. And towards the end of the season, Coach Hayes, we'll have you pull some names out of the hat, if you will. So it's their way of partnering with Enid Public Schools and supporting Plainsman football. So go to On Deck, and again, there's two chairs to give away, and the one bobblehead, Barry Sanders, number 21. We'll give that away later in the year. So you go out there, fill out the registration, no cost whatsoever.
Yeah, great.
Okay, we're getting towards the end of the program, and we need to talk about the Wildcats from Ponca City. Undoubtedly, it's going to be Ponca City's first game of the year, but the Plainsmen travel. They're on the road to go to Ponca City.
Game, you bet.
Let's look at Ponca City, and what do you know?
There's a renewed excitement in Ponca City right now. Scott Harmon from Hominy Oklahoma is their new head coach, and he has the kids playing hard. Look good on video. I think it's going to be a very competitive, tough game. It's a rivalry game, and so you always have to kind of do a little extra, get ready for those games because you're going to get their best effort. And I'm excited about how hard our kids will work this week in practice because it's very important to our kids that they beat Ponca. And defensively, they're very hard-nosed. I think they're a physical team based on what we can see on video. And offensively, they're going to be a shotgun spread. Run, throw the football, a lot of what you see on Friday night now from most teams. And so they're an even front, which is a little bit different. Most teams play an odd front now, and so they'll have 4 down linemen instead of 3. Their secondary, I think, is probably the strength of their defense. They run to the ball well, and they're good tacklers. And so we'll have to take good care of the football, and we'll have to play well. And I really feel like if we do, we'll have a really good outing and get our first victory of the season. And we're certainly going to work hard this week to do that.
Well, you're absolutely right when you were describing Coach Harmon. I mean, the Hominy Bucks have been I believe, 2A, Class 2A, maybe a little bit smaller, but they've been a perennial powerhouse in most athletics in Hominy. And so Coach Harmon brings that mindset to Ponca City.
Yeah.
How does that influence you and your assistant coaches as you prepare, knowing that these people mean business? It's high school football, but they still take it serious.
Yeah.
How do you approach the game? Any differently?
No, because really, whoever you play, you're working on controlling what you can control. You can't control who they start where and how athletic they are. I do think that we have to keep in mind that we're going to their place. It's their first game of the season. And so they have that first game excitement that you have when you still are undefeated and all the hope of a season, and they have the hope of a new leadership. And so we definitely have our work cut out for us. We'll have to do a good job of getting prepared this week and execute things well. I like our chances, and I like the team that we have right now. And so I'm very excited about going and playing in that type of environment against an arch rival like that. And I think those games are a lot of fun, and obviously they're a lot of fun to win.
And it's fun for high school football to pack everything up, load on the bus, go to an opponent's city to play ball. So that'll be August 31st, 7 p.m. kickoff in Ponca City as the Plainsmen travel over to Ponca City. We're going to take a break, and we're going to show the air times for the Coaches Show here on the Enid Television Network, and we'll have a closing comment with Coach Steve Hayes right after this. Again, thank you for staying with us on Plainsman Football Coaches Show, Coach Steve Hayes. And again, we want to say special thanks to the men's department at Dillard's for the wardrobe for Coach Steve Hayes, and also our friends at On Deck for the studio set design that they have for us as well.
Yeah.
Days away from another game. It's amazing how quick the weeks go. You had great support last Friday night. Any thoughts on the crowd and the students that you want to share with us?
It's such an awesome crowd Friday night in relationship to our student body, the band, and the cheer and palm group. Very loud, great game environment. So grateful for those kids and all they do to make our games a special night, especially at home. And we're going to do a much better job of making them proud as we move forward.
Coach, tell us a little bit about Friday. Is there a lunch with all the team before you load up on the bus? Kind of walk us through the preparation up to a 7 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah, this is an interesting Friday in that we don't have school, and so we'll actually go over to Emmanuel Baptist and eat lunch about 2 o'clock, and then we'll come back and do.
I'll see you there.
Yeah, I don't blame you. We'll do our final pregame preparations, and then we'll get on the bus and go over there and play. We'll probably leave here about 3:45. Head over and get there about 5 o'clock.
Okay, 7 o'clock kickoff.
7 o'clock kickoff.
Ponca City. Game 2 already.
Yeah.
All right, Coach, thank you for your time. We certainly appreciate Colton Dodd, who is our student athlete that joined us here on the Coaches Show. And have a good game Friday. Have a good week of practice. And we'll see you next week. And we'll see you as we continue to bring you high school football and the highlights of Enid Plainsmen football with the Coaches Show with Steve and Steve. Thank you again for joining us. Until next time, make it a great day. Go Plainsmen.
Go Plainsmen. Beat Ponca.
thank you for watching Enid Plainsmen Football with Steve and Steve on ETN.